All right, this is the Rogue CTM-1, and I've been waiting on this thing long enough to question my life choices at this point. So Rogue's pitch is simple. One compact tower that gives you a 2-to-1 functional trainer and a 1-to-1 lat pull down and low row off of a single selectorized 250-pound or 300-pound stack. Now I'll tell you this up front, it's extremely good. Everything you would expect from Rogue. But that's not the interesting part. See, the real question is whether or not this still makes sense in a world when a lot of people have rack integrated systems and dual towers. So let's get into it. If you're new here, I'm Drew. Welcome to Irwin Fitness. I buy the gear, I train on it, and I tell you what I think, transparently and honestly. It's that simple. So let's address the elephant in the room. This machine cost more than all 3 cars I bought in high school. And honestly, now that I say that, that says more about this machine more than it does my high school financial vehicle decisions. But if you do decide to invest, please consider using my links in the description or the blog article. The equipment that you buy costs the same for you, but Iron and Lime will get a small commission.
That's what I appreciate about you.
And that's how I can continue to keep this operation going and bring you new quality gear to review. The CTM-1, what this video is actually about. All right, at its core, the CTM-1 is a lat pull down low row tower that also functions as a single trolley functional trainer. Without you having to swap cables or reconfigure anything, it's very convenient. Rogue uses a patent pending pulley configuration, and what that does is it gives you a 2-to-1 ratio on the front trolley that swivels, and a 1-to-1 ratio on the lat pull down and the low row, all from one stack adjustment. Why does that matter? Well, 2-to-1 means more cable travel. It's ideal for pal-off presses, tricep extensions, curls, lateral raises, any kind of accessory work from a single side that you can think about. 1-to-1 means that when the pin is in 200, you're pulling 200. There's no pulley math, no compromise. And you can go from lat pull to low row without breaking the flow, and you're also pulling the true weight. This combination is why this category is so important. So Irwin Fitness, Sorinex, Fringe Sport, they all have very similar lat pull low row towers. However, what they lack is the 2-to-1 swivel pulley. For that, they're not true competitors. The Rep Adonis, I think, is the closest competitor. I haven't used it, heard good things though. And now Rogue is throwing their hat in the ring. So honestly, people that go with Rep to save money, you're not really going to save money. Both companies have increased prices, especially in the last year. And when you consider that the Adonis only comes with a 210-pound weight stack with the ability to plate load more, you really have to consider what you're looking for here. When I'm spending $3,000 plus, I want that Rogue Sorinex hammer strength quality, sliding the pin in to whatever weight is needed, and I don't want to deal with having to slide plates in on the side. However, people that go with Rep, I don't blame you. It is slightly cheaper. So as we all can expect with the CTM-1, Rogue did it the Rogue way. Overbuild it, make it super refined, and make people feel like they're actually lifting in a commercial gym in the comfort of their own garage and basement. And that's really what we love about it. All right, let's talk footprint and ceiling height, because that is what really matters for you. When I bought this, I thought I was going to put it in the corner at an angle, and it kind of angles out, so it kind of makes sense. But then in practice, it makes less sense than just running it straight. So putting it straight allowed me to keep my wall storage and use the rear space more efficiently. So I actually was able to get some really nice storage there in the back, keep my mutant metals, keep my rollers, keep my handles for the goat attachment. So definitely convenient to have it straight in my situation, but you could angle it in your situation. The footprint's 50 by 52. It's about 63 deep if you have the seat installed, which I plan to leave mine installed. 90 inches or 100 inches. You are going to need a little extra clearance for assembly. There's a part where you have to actually bring the top part and slide it down. So just make sure you measure that. I would just ballpark 6 or 7 inches for that. You do get more cable travel in the taller one as well. So if you've got the ceiling height, go taller. I didn't in the event that we move and I maybe don't have 12-foot garage ceilings in my next house. One thing to really keep in mind in my setup, seat height affects the low row clearance. So where I like to keep the seat to where I can get full extension on the lat pull, if you are not careful on the low row pull, it kind of hits on the bottom of the seat. Not a deal breaker. You could always pull the plate out a little bit, but I definitely am going to have to play with the seat height, and I'll get in a little bit deeper into that later on in the video. Let's talk about the build quality. This is 3x3, 11 gauge steel, 1-inch holes, 2 inches in between. Same exact setup as the Monster rack. It's that same ecosystem. So everything that fits on your Monster rack attachment wise will fit on the front and back uprights of the CTM-1. Feels like a tank, much lighter to move than an FM6. I will say that because I did have to slide it a little bit, and I was able to do it by myself. What you're getting quality oversized pulleys, you're getting quality cables, good proper thickness that's going to help it be smooth. Enclosed shrouds, which actually convinced me to add the shrouds onto my Indie order. And you obviously get that Rogue assurance and customer service. So if you've used the FM6, this is going to feel very similar. Same quality of motion, same smoothness, same attention to detail. It definitely does not feel like something that you will feel disappointed with.
With all respect, sir, I've heard that before.
It feels like a permanent thing. I'm definitely a big fan. After a week of use, I've had 3 workouts that I've tried to bake as much work onto it as I can, and I have been very happy. All right, so let's talk about the trolley. The trolley is robust. It's the same trolley that's in use on the FM6. So if you use that one, same concept. It uses the machine rollers. It's very easy to slide up and down. You can kind of tighten it in when you're using it. It does feel very similar to shooting an M2 50 cal. I know that was their intent, but having had some trigger time on the M2, doesn't really feel the same, but I can understand the concept. I like the inspiration. So 2 honest notes. It is a heavy trolley. It's going to be heavier than most competitors, if not all competitors. So if you have, like your wife works out or your kids work out, just consider that they may have a height and weight issue. 2, like most trolley designs, it doesn't quite go as low or as high as you may want it to. So not a big concern for me. In my gym, I've got the dual Indie on the way. So the 2-to-1 trolley wasn't my primary reason for getting the CTM-1. However, if you are getting this and this is going to be your only cable option, it's important to consider the height you get and what you're going to do with that single swivel pulley, because it will matter. But this is an extremely strong trolley system, and the ecosystem is built on something that you can continuously build off of with that Rogue Monster line. All right, so let's talk about the lat pull down. The lat pull down is 1-to-1, right? So as I kind of alluded to earlier, when you train pull down seriously, if it's 2-to-1, you're going to run out of weight very quickly. You have the option of getting a 250-pound or a 300-pound weight stack when ordering. I went with the 300-pound weight stack. It's always better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Some people neither have it nor need it, but that's not where we're at. Will I max out 300 pounds? Probably not. But I like to have that headroom. And just in the event I have somebody in the gym that's an absolute dog, I like to make sure that the equipment is able and capable to handle that kind of pull strength, if you will. It's super smooth, it's strong, it doesn't feel compromised at all. And that's really what makes the difference here, is when you buy Rogue, you know you're gonna get that feel, that commercial feel. Anybody that's ever used hammer strength or Sorinex in a commercial gym knows exactly what I'm talking about. All right, let's talk about the low row, which kind of pivots right off of the lat pull down. Also 1-to-1, as we explained. Definitely one of the bigger reasons to go with this. I, for one, and I know people that have watched the channel know this, I did not like having to constantly move things around to make lat pulls and low rows happen. So with that, this kind of alleviates that. This is always set up, and it's very nice. A low row and a 1-to-1, again, kind of just gives you that flexibility, and foot plate's solid and adjustable. The movement is clean and finished, and you do row from the floor. However, I definitely think that if you can grab like a Rogue ab mat, which I'll show here and I'll link below, I kind of just sit on it, and honestly, it's not terrible. Functionally, it works. You can load it heavy, and the low row really does feel great. For those that kind of grew up in I keep alluding to hammer strength because I grew up lifting on that, but they have like the low row that you're sitting on a seat basically, and you're low rowing on the seat. Extremely comfortable, but also would add another 4 or 5 feet to the depth of this. And for a home gym, that's just not realistic. So with that, I think Rogue did a really good job. It's the same solution as Sorinex and Irwin Fitness and Rep have come up with, which is the best way to, I think, bake in that 1-to-1 low row with the cable tower stack, where you can do kind of both exercises without it taking up an insane amount of your gym space. All right, so let's talk about this lat pull multi-use lat seat, because it really adds some versatility. I absolutely love it. It is extremely heavy though. Just want to warn you. You can do multiple seat adjustments, multiple positions. You have the adjustable leg rollers, and you could flip it over and kind of use it similar to how you would the Pritchett pad. It's just a little bit different. I don't know that it's a one-for-one replacement, but if you're on a budget like me, you can maybe use it to do some of those things. The chest supported rows, the curls, the flies, the extensions, the angled pulls. It really does increase the variability of what you can do. And that's really where the CTM-1 becomes more than just a lat pull low row tower. The downside though, storage. There's no way to store the seat in a way that is not taking up space unless you just leave it on the rack, which is what I plan to do 99% of the time. Non-issue for me, but if somebody is using this swivel pulley up and down and they are taking off the seat constantly, having a storage solution for the seat is important. So Rogue has the engineering horsepower. They could have definitely come up with some kind of seat storage solution. They didn't. And I think that's because the intent for most people is to just leave it on there. And that's what I'm going to do, especially once the Indy comes in and I have those dual pulleys. I won't really have a need to use the swivel pulley here anymore. All right, let's talk about what Rogue absolutely nailed here. Seamless transitions. You can go straight from lat pull to low row to swivel pulley. You don't have to reconfigure anything. You don't have to unclip and reclip. I've worked on machines where you had to move the clip point around. That's the whole point of this design. They executed it almost flawlessly.
And remember that it's not all about speed, it's about efficiency. Got it?
They have modular build options. You can kind of choose standalone rack attached, 90 inch or 100 inches, 250 or 300 pound stacks. The attachments, thankfully, a la carte. You can pick which ones you want, pay for what you play with. I chose to go a little more exotic here with these. They also give you the landmine variability as well for both the triangle and the pull down bar that I chose. But then I really also love my lat pull stainless steel Rogue one, so I added that to my Indy order, and I'm just going to kind of go back and forth because I really do think changing your angle of grip is super important when you start hitting those different zones of your back when you're lat pull downs. So definitely Rogue nailed it on the order process in the sense of being able to pick your attachment. All right, what did Rogue maybe leave for some improvement room? What did they miss on? I don't think there's too much, but I do want to mention the nitpicks that I would have, at least from a week of usage. The first thing I think is important to mention is I constantly have a floating top plate, no matter how I rig these things up. Over time, they stretch out, and it's not drastic. But if I put all 3 attachments that I got on here and I actually leave them on there, there will be a floating top plate, guaranteed. And I'll show that in the video. I ensured that I was running the cables correctly. This is not my first build. I've done these cables. I've done the Rogue attachments where you slide it through and thread it on and Allen wrench it. So I know it's not a me issue, But I definitely think that I am just the floating plate guy. And I'm not sure why that has to happen, but I do know in, 6 months or so, it'll stretch out. And I could go back to Rogue and ask them, hey, what do I do? And they'd probably send me a longer cable, or they probably do something, right? They troubleshoot it. But I don't think it's that big of a deal. It doesn't affect what I'm doing. I usually don't leave this on here anyway, which then, alleviates that. And it's not that big of a deal. I'm not that bothered by it. I kind of expected it. So that would be one of the misses, I think, that should be kind of acknowledged. Secondly, you can't really do integrated micro loading. It moves in 10-pound increments, which is okay, but sometimes for the smaller movements, like my wife, for instance, when she does some like lateral raises, it might start out a little heavy. She can push through it, but still, I can definitely understand how that could maybe be improved. But again, not a showstopper for someone 6'1", 215, but could be for someone else. Storage, the uprights, absolutely fantastic. The seat storage, not having a solution for people that need that, that will probably be a big deal. The other thing is if you're using this as your singular pulley solution, not having dual pulleys is maybe an issue, right? So it excels at unilateral stuff and accessory movements. But if you call it a functional trainer, maybe not as much because you're only doing unilateral movements. So just keep that in mind. Super refined, and it's great as a single stack. Just don't try to replace all the functionality of a dual tower if you are just buying the CTM-1. Just understand what you're getting. All right, should you buy it? Would I recommend it? My answer, absolutely. Consider the CTM-1 if you want a 1-to-1 lat pull and low row. You want 2-to-1 swivel pulley to be able to do some of those unilateral movements. You care about the made in the USA build quality and that Rogue will stand behind their product. And you want that commercial feel in the garage space. This thing looks awesome. I've had 3 people in my garage since I got it, and they all commented on it. And you want to skip this if you have a need for dual adjustable pulleys or dual arms, or if you already have rack integrated cables that cover this, or you hate managing the logistics of moving the seat in and out. If you have to move the seat in and out, I could understand why that may be a problem. I don't think it's as big of a deal maybe for me, but it probably is for some people, right? So I would definitely recommend to be honest with how you train before you drop the $3,600+ on this. So that's just my 2 cents on it. All right, so final verdict. Here's my take. The Rogue CTM-1 is probably one of the best single stack towers available right now. Not revolutionary in the sense of it didn't change the game, but it's very refined. Rogue is not always the first market mover, but Rogue is usually the last market mover, right? So it's smooth, it's overbuilt, the pulley config works well, exactly as it should. If you want a compact command center for your lat pull, low row, swivel pulleys, the CTM-1's elite. If you want dual pulley symmetry and you want to kind of open up your dual functional trainer stuff, I would say you either need to go with this and dual pulleys, or maybe not use this as your all-in-one solution. As always, if you've got questions about setup, attachments, or how this fits into a garage gym ecosystem, please drop them below, reach out. Please like and subscribe. If you're buying gear, please use my links. It would really help out our channel and helps keep Iron and Lime running. And as always, thank you for watching. I truly appreciate every single one of you that subscribes, that likes, that comments. It means the world to me. I respond to every single one of them. And I look forward to seeing you on the next one. I hope this review really helps some people.